Okay, I didn't want you to have to hear all that tape going, but I will have links in the comments of the supplies that I use. And I mean, you're welcome to use it or not, or whatever you want, but I just highly recommend using the poly bags whenever possible. It saves on the weight when you are shipping. And obviously, at least for me, I do customer pay shipping. And I do a weighted shipping because everything's a little bit different. Like I said, I'm mostly a one-off seller. So what that does is customers that want it, they understand that if they don't get it, they may not be able to get it next time. So they're willing to pay that shipping. And I mean, we're competing with Amazon, so we've got to try to keep the shipping costs down. And having the weighted shipping does that. Okay, look at this little guy, little tins. They don't sell for a whole lot, but I use a formula. So when I decide if I'm going to buy something, I have a number in mind, and for us it's $10. So after fees and my buy cost, I use a formula to make sure that I am going to profit $10 or more. And if I think I'm going to profit $10 or more, and I use those comparable sales, which I'll show you in another video, how do you figure that out, to determine what my estimated profit will be. And if it's $10 or more, we feel, at least for us in this business and the downtime that we have to contribute to investing in the business, is worth it for $10 per item, especially when we're doing 30 to 40 items per day. So you can do the math on that and see that it's worth our time, because every piece you've got to take pictures of it, you've got to take time to list it, and you've got to have the inventory. So that means you have to store it. So it's got to be worth it for you. And everybody's different. Everybody's space is different. Everybody's time's different. I know resellers out there that their buy cost has to be so low that they can turn $20 profit. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. There's some people who, don't look at the criteria, and then all of a sudden they realize they're not making any money. So that's why I bring that up. But I always recommend, if you're just starting out, the way to start out is use what you already have and what you already know. There's no way, if you have not been into fashion, that you're going to be able to start selling soft goods and make money. Not just any clothes are what people are looking for online. You're looking for different style aesthetics, and what's popular now may not be popular a year from now, or things that you might want to sell may not be items that are currently trending. And there are certain keywords that you need to use to make sure that items that you do find get the right buyers looking at it, because you have to use those keywords. So there's a lot involved. So stick with what you know. If you are somebody who has a wealth of knowledge in certain collectibles, then that's what you should start with, and start with your own items at home, so you're not investing money in something that you may or may not enjoy doing, or you may or may not be able to justify spending money on other items to build up your inventory. If you already own it, then the buy cost is zero. So anyway, so that's how I wrap that so it doesn't get any dent. And I try to be respectful of people with collectibles. Like I said, I sell on Etsy. Etsy is not something that I see a lot of people talk about in the resale world, because a lot of people think that Etsy is only good for homemade or crafted items. I'm here to tell you that they have a huge vintage business. So if you sell vintage items, and I just wanted to show you guys, this is a Tommy Bahama. So it's a men's item. Men's items do great, especially in larger sizes. This is a large, and I typically try to only get men's items in large or bigger. Extra large, double extra large, those are the #1 sellers in the soft goods items. I'll tell you something funny. My son-in-law, I was telling him I was so excited because I found some silk tropical print button down Tommy Bahamas, and those can be very highly collectible and very well sought after. And he said to me, "Oh, don't they just make chairs?" Thought that was hilarious. But anyway, Tommy Bahama, this is a Tommy Bahama t-shirt, and this sold actually on Poshmark, and Poshmark takes like 20% right off the top. So it's one of the higher fees. However, my buy cost on this was 99 cents. And I believe my profit after fees on this is, I don't have my data up because that's not really what this video is. This video is just kind of me telling you what we do and letting you know what kind of videos and things we're going to add to this channel so that you can use it as a reference. But I believe the profit on this was like $18. Tommy Bahama is very expensive, and I usually only stick with buying like the silk shirts, the men's silk shirts. They do make women's and kids actually does pretty well too. Like I said, we're an everything seller, so if I find something that I can make that $10 profit after fees, I'm gonna do it. And there's different ways to do that. And there's sometimes I will buy a lot, not a lot as in many items, but a lot, like a grouping of items. And sometimes those items aren't necessarily going to give me that $10 profit per piece. Some resellers won't do that, but for us, we have the room, and it's very profitable to do that. So when those things come along, I'll show you, and I'll show you how to do that, especially when you're going to yard sales, things like that. I want to show you this. This just sold, and this is a little collectible called Just the Right Shoe. And if you can see, I have a funny story about these. It's got these glass shoes, super cute. I think it's by R-A-I-N-E. They're very collectible. I don't know if it was a Sex and the City thing. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if that is how they became a thing. But this one has all the certificates and the book and the little foamy thing. While you're out and about, you'll find people who are getting rid of their collections. And like I said, now I did buy the entire collection on these from somebody, but I didn't sell the collection all in one sale. I'm selling them one at a time. These little guys, I want to say the original cost on them were like in the $40 range. And I think my buy cost, and this is just off the top of my head, I think after it was all said and done, I think I paid like $2 a piece, but I bought the whole collection. And this one I'm selling in the $20 range. So met my $10 threshold, but on many pieces. So I think the entire, let's just say I sell it this way, which was on Poshmark, for all of them, I think the profit on this is like maybe 300, because I did buy so many pieces from somebody who was getting rid of a collection. I think as we get older, we're starting to realize that our kids don't want our collectibles, and you know, this is a good way for me as a reseller to get it, and for the person who is selling it to get rid of it in one transaction and not have to sell it one at a time. A lot of people don't want to spend the time, or maybe they're moving and they don't want to take the collection. So you know, you just have to decide if you can store it, if it's worth it, if it's something that you want to list. I will say that I have sold these on all the platforms. And Poshmark, you know, people think of Poshmark as a fashion only platform. And yes, it is, I would say the more discerning buyer likes Poshmark, but for this piece, this was great because it was fashionable, and Poshmark is a high fashion site. Their fees are a little high, but with the low buy costs that I have with so many units, that was a great flip. And I want to say this is about the 10th out of, I think, 30 that I bought on these that has sold. So there we go. And I just put that, it was already packaged and had the little foam in it and a box and everything. I just put it in a bubble envelope. So, oh, I have something really cool. Check this out. I have never seen a mask like this before. It's like theater quality. Let me know in the comments if you know who this is. Look at that. It looks like it was a mold. An incredible piece. It's got the band, it's got the hair, and it came with, look at this. It came with little studs as a rocker should, and it has like the smock. So I picked up this piece actually at the thrift, which is not my number one place to source. It has gotten somewhat high, and as a reseller, your buy cost is everything. Some would say that your buy cost is where you make your money. Everything will eventually sell, but if you're getting a good buy cost, then it's worth doing all the things, which is taking the pictures, listing the item, packaging the item like I am today once it sells, storing the item. All of those things have to be considered. But I got that with the regular costumes, and I want to say their costumes, it was around Halloween, and the thrift stores have gotten kind of savvy. They don't put out everything all the time. They store items until it's seasonally appropriate, and then they put it out. And I think that in return, they've gotten a much higher return on their investment by keeping the stores clean, keeping it seasonally appropriate, and so forth. Anyway, so I only paid like whatever they were charging for the, and I do keep track of my buy costs, but for this purposes of this video, I don't have it. Actually, that mask is so interesting. I think I am going to put that in a box. But anyway, the buy cost on that was right in, I want to say $7, which for me would be high ordinarily for a costume, but that is like a theater quality costume. And I really, really think that the person who's getting this can appreciate that. And I want to say the sale of this is $35 is what it sold for. So it certainly meets my criteria. Additionally, it is, there we go, that's perfect. It is a theater quality piece. So depending upon how they're using it, they can, and it's April, so I don't know when they're going to be using it, but they wanted to know when it was getting shipped. So here we go. And I think that putting it in a box is going to, and I had a piece of foam in there. It's going to protect that mask because I can't describe what it is. It's kind of plastic, but more like a mold, so it has the potential to crack. So not going to crack here. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you are protecting your pieces. You don't want them to break because you are responsible as a seller, and you'll have to issue refunds. Talking about refunds, when you go to sell, you'll be asked to set up policies. And this is especially true on eBay, which for us is our biggest platform because we are everything sellers, and most of the hard lines will sell on eBay. But I would highly recommend that you accept returns. I know it doesn't seem like it's going to be a good deal for you, but I will say that, and nobody knows what the secret sauce is with the algorithm, especially with eBay. This is a little Vera Bradley bag. I don't recommend picking these up for resale anymore. They don't hold their value like they used to. However, this piece was my mother-in-law's, and she asked me a while ago if I would help her get rid of some of her pieces. She could care less how much she gets out of this. So for me, it was free. And I am giving her half of whatever I get after fees, which is a great way to do it. That's another idea for you guys, especially if you're just starting out, is consignment. Consignment can be very lucrative, and especially if you don't have to store the pieces. I actually have a piece. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to show you guys the items that I have in this particular ship with me, because it is a variety. Anyway, this was a zero buy cost for me. I don't have to give her anything, but I do. I send her, like, you know, a Venmo, or she uses PayPal, of the price after fees split in half, and she's happy. And what people don't want is this kind of item getting donated or thrown away if you decide to do a consignment deal. Most people just want somebody to appreciate it, want somebody who wants it, and that looks like it's never been worn or used. It's like a makeup bag with a little hanger, so especially cool if you're going on a cruise. If you've ever been on a cruise, there's not much room. Those bathrooms are super tiny, but you can hang it, and that's a great way to get more. I mean, there's no counter space in a cabin, but that way you can kind of expand the room. So it's got a purpose, and it is Vera Bradley. And there we go. And I want to say maybe I'll be sending her $10. And I got $10, and it's not going to end up in a waste stream. And when, you know, my mother-in-law passes, she's going to be thrilled that, you know, she was able to downsize ahead of time, and, you know, her things aren't going to go in the garbage. Okay, so I have a piece of Talbots. Love me some Talbots, and in the area I live in, I can source Talbots all day long. It's a retirement sort of area and coastal, and we see Talbots a lot. So I source it, and I will get it at the thrift at times, depending upon the price. They don't really mark it up in this area. I have seen it marked up throughout the country. But for us, we have a lot of it, and absolutely the plus sizes are the way to go. If you can get some nice Talbots plus sizes, especially the more substantial pieces, they sell well. They may not sell for a ton, but the retail on Talbots is super high. So there again, that's a kind of go with what you know, or go with what you can source. We happen to live in an area that has a lot of it at the thrift. So when I was first deciding to sell soft goods, Talbots was not something that I would have sourced. It has a good sell-through rate. It has a good like a bread and butter price, but you know, I guess I took it for granted because we have it all over the place. And oh my gosh, the sales on that, it always meets my criteria of that $10 threshold without even trying. Anyway, great to try to source what you can get your hands on. Okay, I almost fell getting this for you. This I wanted to talk about. So this is one of those items that each of these, and I package them 2 at a time. The little Barbie, they look like lipsticks, and you twist them up and they're actually a little Barbie. Kind of one of those things maybe a bigger store might have by the cash wrap, so that it's an impulse purchase. Cute little miniature Barbie. But I got these when Party City was going out of business, and I think I paid, they were like 90% off. I bought like 100 of them. Yes, my sale price per 2-pack is like $5, okay? But I had 100 of them. Am I meeting my $10 threshold per sale? No, I'm not. But you multiply it times 50 sales times 5, that's $250. Have I met it with that one transaction? Absolutely. Am I already packaging orders? Absolutely. Is it going to take any extra time really to package this up? Hardly. I know you guys can't see where I store all my bags, but I have all the sizes. Look at this. This is all I got to do. I'm putting it in a little bag. When I got them, I packaged them in, and what's really cool about those is you don't know what you're getting anyway. That's part of the charm of them. So there are, it's a way for Mattel to sell many of them because you don't know what you're getting. And if you want to collect them all, you have to get many because you may get duplicates. You don't know exactly what it is. But anyway, takes 2 seconds for me to package that up, and I got such a great deal on it. So yes, I'm a one-off seller. However, when the opportunity comes along, and I had been shopping at Party City as they were going out of business daily, just to kind of see as they marked things down. We got a bunch of costumes and that sort of thing, but these were great flip. $250, and I have had this. I have one more set, and that's it. They're all gone, and that has been, I want to say, a year maybe of having them. So $250 a year of storing 100 of those in 2 packs of 50, so 50 packages that take up maybe, you know, maybe a 10 by 10. I'm talking inches, or okay, 1 by 1 little area in my warehouse. No problem for me. If that's something that you want to do, then think about buying the lots, and I can help you, and you can figure out the best way to make deals on things like that. It is a wonderful way to source. All right, bucket hats. Oh my goodness, look at this little garden hat. How cute. Bucket hats. I do very well with hats. This particular hat is new with tags. I do not always sell new with tags. It's kind of funny how many people don't mind buying hats that have been used or on the secondhand market. A lot of times men have a huge collection of hats, and they get many hats that are in their style as gifts and so forth, but they stick with just the one hat. And many of their hats have very little wear. We sell a lot of hats. If I can get a hold of vintage hats, then I do that. And I actually just recently got a nice group of hats from a buddy of mine that does storage units. So in that instance, I was able to get a grouping of hats, bought it in a lot, but it was not new. So there's all kinds of ways that you can source and get items that are profitable. So half of those hats in the storage unit were filthy, and I mean filthy. And my aunt that has been selling on eBay for years gave me a little tip, and I did it. I put them in a dishwasher. And in the dishwasher, they don't have the spin cycle that they would have in a washing machine, and they maintain their shape great. The dishwasher has a high heat, and it really did a great job. The couple that I had that were like vintage, that were Fox Racing, and I had some with Escalade on it, the Cadillac Escalade, and those were new with tags. So unfortunately, they were no longer new with tags, but I felt like they would sell better clean than worrying about the new with tags, especially they were vintage anyway. So, you know, I don't typically like to get things that are projects, but in that case, it was well worth it. So here's another one. This is an odd little, I don't typically have things like this, but I got these in the bins. Now, if you've never been to the Goodwill bins, we have 2 locations within driving distance to us. so we get opportunities all the time to go to the bins, and we did wonderful. I got, I want to say like 100 of these things, and they don't have the gel pens. They're little, it's called Forest Nightlife Coloring Set. It comes with, it's supposed to come with 8 gel coloring pencils, 8 coloring pages, 1 glow sticker, and a pencil sharpener. Well, it's missing the pencils and the sharpeners, and I put that in the listing, but I'm giving 5 of them. So what is that, like a, I think it was about 100, so 20 units of these, and they're marked down now. I'm down to just my last few, but the girl at the bin sold them all to me for $1. Typically things in my area, and every bin's location is different, but typically things in my area are sold by weight. Well, these would have been really heavy. You can't tell by looking at it in the camera, but they have some bulk to them, some weight. And anyway, I offered to buy them all. So she rang them all up for $1, which is not super unusual because toys and things like that, they will sometimes price individually. So I got all of them for $1, 20 sales again. I think $5 a piece, so that's $100. These are down to, I think $3, the few that I have left. But that's something that I use Nifty for, is each platform I can put in the settings, and it's something that people don't talk about enough. I can put in the settings the markdown, which I talked about at the beginning of this video. So these have been marked down, I guess, twice. And they'll probably all go. I think I have just maybe 2 more sets of them, and they'll all go. And did I make $5 on 20 of them? No, I made $5 on 18 of them, 17 of them, $3 on 3. I'm fine with that. So that's the kind of thing that you have to think about. What is your buy cost? Is it worth it? Do you have the place to store it? And so forth. All right, here's some jammies. Who is that? Not as hot as it was. Every once in a while, if I find something that's worth getting, that and I'll say that with Disney in general, anything from the parks is worth getting. Anything else, maybe not so much. If it's a Loungefly piece or something like that, maybe, but for the most part, I only pick up Disney for resale that is from the parks. This particular piece is not, but I thought it was cute, and they were really soft, so it's a good size too. They are a what size are they? I can't tell. Maybe it's a 1 size. Anyway, they look kind of big. They were large, extra large, and obviously they're going to somebody who is a Harry Potter fan, so that's great. I love to sell sleepwear. Sleepwear is a highly sought after secondhand market piece that you would not normally think of, because you can get some very luxurious sleepwear that makes for a wonderfully priced piece if you can get it on the secondhand market. And I'm talking silks. I'm talking the granny core style, which I sell a lot of granny core items, which, as you can tell, my granny core era is here, but I'm actually a granny. I have 2 grandkids, so I know what to look for, and I know some of the quality pieces that are worth getting because they're designer items. All right, here's another men's piece, and I will tell you, men's sales online are crazy good. This is an American Eagle, new with tags, extra large trunks. Okay, the retail of this was $39.50, and I sold them for, I think, $24, and my buy cost on them was $3.99. So that's a little more than I would normally spend on something, just a 1 piece. But I knew that I would get my $10 threshold. That's how I always think of things. easily, but that was because it was new with tags. So these are in new condition. Whoever's getting these is going to be really happy that they got an American Eagle piece new with tags for such a great price, because I think that that's low. These might be 10 years old, and that $39.50 is actually pretty low. If you were to go in the store now, a pair of swim trunks for men are going to be in the $50 to $60 range. So that's what we would call in the business dead stock. So it's an old item with a tag that's never been worn, is a dead stock piece, and I got a great deal on it, and I'm passing it on to the buyer, and they're going to get a lot of wear out of it, and everybody's happy. Okay, so the next piece I want to show you, this is pretty cool. This is something I got from my storage unit Find Buddy, and this is a sale on Etsy. So Etsy sells some interesting pieces that you wouldn't necessarily think that you could sell on Etsy. It has little feet. It's more of a display piece. I've seen people use these as planters, just decor around the house, and it is a vintage piece. It's actually going to Hawaii. So give me a minute. I'm going to find a box for this.